What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Season 6.5 is almost here, and I've got early access to it for one reason and one reason only, and that is to bring you a super simple day one guide to Elsa Bloodstone so that you can get the most out of her as soon as the season drops. And I've got to be honest, when I was watching the trailer, I wasn't thinking I was going to like her all that much, but hot damn, she is a good time. Her kit is simple, her gunplay is smooth, and everything just kind of flows together in a way that just clicks. She's one of those heroes that could take 5 minutes to learn how to play, but then weeks on how to master. I don't know how to explain it, but just in the matches in particular, even though they were against AI, she just felt super fun and very smooth. I think you're going to like her. All right, let's kick off this thing right away. Here's a quick look at her abilities if you want to go ahead and pause and read it yourself. But we're going to go through all of them and exactly all the details that you need to know. All right, let's go and talk about the main way you're going to do your damage, and that is with the double barrel blaster, her primary weapon that does the double pop with 8 ammunition. And it's pretty good. It's solid. It feels really good to shoot. And you'll be going and doing this kind of dance with the double pop and then the single bullet with her monster piercer that you can get access to when you use some of her abilities, mainly the Helix Advance, which we'll get to in a moment. Now, the fall off is not that bad for what you would think. Obviously, it's gonna be a lot better up close, 20 meters or so, but you can see here in the visual just how much the fall off is in the practice range. And then in the live environment, I felt like it was really easy to land. I'm gonna say you have to have some decent aim with her, especially if you want to take down Iron Man and some flyers and whatnot. But she's a bit more forgiving than people like Hela and Phoenix in the way that she works, especially given some of her abilities. But yes, double barrel blaster, gonna be a solid primary. But then let's talk about the monster piercer. The damage here is really solid. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And the fall off is minimal. I mean, you can see in the example just how little fall off damage there is, even if I go all the way back. And so this is definitely going to be great to kind of get the pickoffs. You can even snipe kind of at a range. And again, you'll have access to the monster piercer way more than you think. Once you start using her kit, you're going to get the idea, especially as her passive, the Hunter Instinct, goes up, which again we'll break down in a moment. She definitely feels like a tank buster in a lot of ways, but then it can also finish off and get rid of pesky strategists with her combos, and so you can get up close with your vanguards, but then you can also play on the high ground and kind of try to go for their backline, whatever it might be. And then if people challenge you, you have so many different combos, really just one huge one that decimates people, especially if you land all the shots. Next up, let's talk about her living bullet. That is her alternate fire, or the right click, the team up with Deadpool. And this is kind of like a tracking bullet, and this is obviously very forgiving for people that don't love to aim. A little finicky, but it does work really well, especially bounced off the wall or grounds. For flying units, it's not as good. Obviously, you still have to be, somewhat accurate unless they're close to a structure. But this is going to mark them with a spectral sigil. And what this does is if you do damage to them at that point, you're going to get yourself a speed boost for a short period of time. You can see the speed boost here. It's going to be nice in some situations, and it happens often. So you do have just insane mobility. Just know that this character has crazy mobility throughout the entire time. But on top of that, the living bullet also is going to be able to do bonus damage or extra damage to bonus health and shields, and mainly just used for people trying to escape. If you almost get them down with your combos, or if they're going around a corner, or just want to use some extra damage, or you can set it up for combos. A lot of ways to utilize it. With the team up in Deadpool, it's much better. You're going to get all of the taunting and stuff from Deadpool, the visual clutter, but then also it's going to be doing this tick damage that will then heal you for the amount that it ticks. I believe, if you let it tick all the way, it's better than just immediate eliminating them. And it can hit up to, I think, 3+ targets. I did it in the practice range. Oftentimes, you're going to get 2, most likely, but you can get 3 pretty easily as well. And it tracks them. This is a super simple way to aim, in between all of your shots to get that extra damage, or sometimes I like to start it off in a combo. Now, quickly, I'm going to talk about what I think is the least impressive part of her kit, and that is going to be her trap. It just did not only did it seem underwhelming in the range, and it's definitely going to be nice in some maps like Clintar, you can close down an area. First off, it's invincible and is invisible, so that's crazy. Obviously, that's going to be very good and for that purpose as a bunker hero, and you can't have people flank, and you can set it up and whatnot. You only get one at a time. You can dash to it, but it doesn't take you all the way to the target. It is somewhat of a short distance. And the opponent or enemies can then break it once that smoke Diablo is going to be, you know, coming out of it. In the live game, it didn't feel that great. Also, AI is just different in general, so I'll have to see, you know, how it's going to play in the live servers. The biggest thing about it is if you trap people in it, you're then going to be able to get bonus Hunter Instinct if you eliminate them, and it's a good chunk. And so that's going to be one of the main purpose and points of the trap. Now, next up, we're going to go to talk about her Helix Advance, and this is one of the most important parts of her kit. Really, the mobility with Elsa is going to be the thing you need to nail down right away, because this is a bonkers ability. So as you gain Hunter Instinct, it's going to reduce the cooldown of this. And what does this do? Well, first of all, it's going to give you a nice little like 7-meter dash that you can do horizontally, not in any direction. You can't aim up and use it. But this is going to go from an 8-second cooldown to, I believe, 6, 4, and then 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds, you can utilize this, which is going to do two things. First off, you get bonus health when you utilize it. So you get 40 health on the first one, going up to 315. And then it goes, I think, 35 health, and it maxes at 350, which is obviously very good. But then you also get access to the Monster Piercer and the more damage. You'll be spamming this all of the time, just in regular kind of chaotic neutral fight, but then also for your combos. It's pretty busted, and once you get the hang of it, you can really just get solid mobility, which I'll show you in a moment. So this is something to really focus on and nail that down in the practice range to get that down into different areas. But then you have her Ruthless Pursuit, which is her main kind of combo that you dash forward, you gain bonus health, and you launch enemies up. It can be multiple enemies, especially if they're kind of grouped together. And then you get the double barrel blaster. It's going to get this kind of like smoke shot that you can utilize for big damage. You can use it to shoot on the ground and go up. You can get like really good distance to place yourself in advantageous positions. You can use it for, you know, combo finishers, and altogether this just marries as insane movement. You can see in the clips here, like I'm able to, you know, traverse pretty far distances, and think about how low of cooldowns these are on. As you deal damage and have eliminations with the Hunter Instinct, it only gets better and better. Now, also with Ruthless Pursuit, if you land the smoke, you can slow down the enemy, and then you also get access to the Monster Piercer. And so you want to combine these and start with your quick dash into the combo, and then you can dash again. And this is going to be like the main song and dance with her. Putting everything together, you can see like against Strategist or like an Emma, you just combine the Living Bullet with the quick dash, back to the dash, and you can put out a hell of a lot of damage very quickly. These are kind of like my favorite quick combos, if you will. Not executed to perfection even. I'm sure with the headshots and the aim, it's even more ridiculous. Now, with her passive, guys, Inherited Instinct, as you deal damage and mainly get eliminations, you're going to rise her bar at the bottom. It's split into 3 sections, and as you get to each section, that is what is going to reduce the cooldown overall. I found it super easy to fill out, something I wasn't like really focused on compared to someone like Deadpool. And then if you die, you don't lose all of it, you just lose a chunk, like a bar of it, which is nice, right? You don't get ultimately punished, and you still have very good cooldowns. But obviously, maxing that thing out is of utmost importance, because more mobility, more damage, all that good stuff that we just covered. And that's kind of how she's going to flow and snowball as a hero. And then last but not least, guys, we have her ultimate, which is the Apex Predator. And this is releasing the Glartrox. And this is way better than I thought than from what was in the trailer. First of all, the damage is crazy, but it has just a stupid hitbox, if I'm being honest. It can get a ton of different heroes at once, and then it goes essentially forever until it hits a wall or you call it back to yourself. So you've got that going for you. Map terrain is going to be extremely useful. I used it here on Yggdrasil and got myself a nice like triple. But then also it does damage on its first like interaction with a hero, and then when it finishes or lands on a wall or whatever it might be. On top of that, what makes it extra crazy is you can do all of your combos and shoot into it with your elephant gun and all that stuff as it's in its mouth, and it still does the damage. So like you can move it to position to push people off point, to, you know, throw them off a map, or to just deal crazy solid damage. And she gets it fast. Like, this quickly became one of my favorite ultimates. I think this thing is going to be stupid scary. Obviously, the biggest thing about it is you can shoot it down. It does have health, so that is going to help, and I'll have to see that more in live play. The only time it felt underwhelming is if it's like a crowded room or area. It can get a little, you know, it just doesn't get its value, if you will. But most of the time, if you save it for the right situations, it felt really busted. And that's about it, guys. Like, there's not much to her outside of just really gonna perfect and land where you can go with her kit and her mobility. Just nailing down her use of getting all over the place, but then also up close and personal, being very hard to hit while constantly getting bonus health, shifting around, landing your shots. Like, that's what makes her so great. And that's why I think she's gonna be kind of easy to pick up right away, but then you can spend just forever mastering her. And then if you do master, of course, guys, I got to include it. You do get the Lord icon here, which I think is pretty solid. And the animated one, they absolutely cooked up. Definitely going to be going for that myself. I'm not crazy about like the Hela and Phoenix and whatnot, but personally, she felt really fun. You have to know how to aim, I would say, pretty well to get the most out of her. So I've got her in like kind of like a mid-elo and above. I expect to see her in pro play. She doesn't play like really any other hero. So overall, I thought it was a good time. I don't want to go into like too much detail. We'll get more into the live servers, and if I need to, I'll give you guys like a more concrete updated guide. But, you know, pretty surface level, not too crazy to understand. Hopefully this did help you though, so you can jump in, learn how to play yourself, and let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. Again, we'll be doing like 5-minute guides pretty soon on a ton of heroes. And guys, if you haven't, good luck out there. Happy rivaling for the end of season 6. Subscribe if you have not, and until the next one, happy rivaling.